So what in the world does a bizarre question from quantum physics have to do with the future of education? Well, in this explainer, we're going to explore a really powerful new way to think about learning, especially now, in a world just filled with AI.
You know, for centuries, some of the greatest minds in science were totally stumped by what seems like a simple question about light. Is it a particle or is it a wave? Right? Is it made of these tiny, distinct packets of energy, kind of like little bullets being fired from a source? Or is it more like a continuous, spreading wave, like the ripples you see in a pond?
And here's the quantum twist, the part that just breaks your brain a little bit. It wasn't an either-or question. Nope. The strange truth is that light is somehow both. It's a particle and a wave, all at the same time. And what it appears to be, that depends entirely on how you choose to look at it.
Okay, so this incredible idea has a name. It's called particle-wave duality. And believe it or not, getting our heads around this weird paradox of light, well, that's the key to unlocking a really powerful new model for education.
So let's break that down. Think of it like this. The particle, that's a definite, internal thing. It's a localized, concentrated packet of energy. The wave, though, that's the opposite. It's an external, spreading field of possibilities. So you've got one that's concrete, and the other that's all about potential.
So I know what you're probably thinking. What on earth does quantum mechanics have to do with a high school classroom? Well, as it turns out, pretty much everything. Because right now, we are facing our own duality, a new partnership that is absolutely going to define our age: human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
In this new model, you can think of the particle as that internal, human-generated skill. The foundational abilities of our own minds. And the wave, well, that's the external, technology-enabled capability. It's the broad, powerful reach of an AI. And the challenge for educators now? It's no longer about teaching one or the other. It's about teaching both.
Okay, so let's dive in, because this isn't just some abstract theory, right? Let's actually see how this whole particle-wave pedagogy can completely transform what's happening in a real high school classroom right now. First up, let's talk about mathematics. Math is almost always at the forefront of these big technological shifts. I mean, we faced a similar crossroads back in the 80s with the calculator, and now large language models are forcing the issue all over again.
And this is such a great example of balancing the two worlds. So for the particle skill, the internal stuff, students do daily mental math sprints. And the goal isn't just rote memorization, it's about building an intuitive sense for numbers. Then for the wave tool, they do something called proof by hallucination. Their job is to find the one single logical flaw in a proof that an AI generated to look absolutely perfect.
And here's the real goal, right? That internal particle skill, that gut feeling you get for numbers, it becomes an absolutely essential, intuitive check on the wave of computer output. You just know, deep down, when the machine's answer feels off. It just feels wrong. All right, so let's switch gears. Let's see how this exact same framework applies to the humanities. I mean, how does this work in an English class where things like nuance and style, they're everything? Well, for the particle side, students might do some sentence diagramming. Now I know, it's an old school technique, but it builds this really deep, almost architectural understanding of how language actually works. Then for the wave, they use an AI for what's called style deconstruction. They'll prompt it to summarize a novel, say, in the style of Hemingway, and then do it again in the style of Gen Z slang. And get this, their job isn't to write, it's to analyze how the AI is mimicking style. That builds a really sophisticated rhetorical awareness. Okay, so math and English. I think we can all see how that fits. But surely this can't apply to everything, right? I mean, what about gym class, physical education? Actually, this example is amazing. It just brilliantly illustrates how universal this framework really is. In PE, the particle skill is all about building physical intelligence, learning complex motor sequences that really enhance that brain-body connection. And the wave activity? It's a fitness misinformation audit. Students literally prompt an AI to create a bad, unsafe workout plan. Then they have to use their own human knowledge to critique it and explain exactly why it's so dangerous. It's all about building the wisdom to reject harmful digital advice. Because, when you zoom out, this is about so much more than just school subjects. It's really about cultivating wisdom for this new age we're living in. It's about deciding what kind of people and what kind of thinkers we really want to become in a world that is just saturated with artificial intelligence.
And we can frame this whole choice through two really powerful lenses. On one hand, you have the ancient philosopher Aristotle. He might ask, does this tool build human virtue and practical wisdom? And on the other hand, you've got the science fiction visionary Isaac Asimov. He might ask, does this tool train us to safely manage our own technology? The whole point of this particle wave idea is to answer a firm yes to both of those questions.
So, when it all comes down to it, this educational duality, it's not just some clever classroom strategy. It is absolutely essential for developing what might be the single most important skill of the future.
And that skill, it's called cognitive verification. Look, we're making a fundamental shift here. We're moving away from an education system that values just knowledge acquisition. I mean, that's something an AI can do in an instant. And we're moving toward one that values the critical evaluation of AI-generated content. And that's something that requires deep, uniquely human understanding.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought to chew on. Is the most valuable human skill of the 21st century really becoming the ability to effectively argue with a machine? You know, the ability to have built up such a strong internal particle of knowledge that we actually have the confidence and the wisdom to challenge that powerful external wave of AI.